Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. We'd like to call the meeting to order and start with the pledge. Okay. At this time, we'd like to do roll call, and sitting in tonight is our deputy clerk. And Deborah, you want to do roll call first, please?
Sure. Councilwoman Albrecht. Councilman Mazzella.
Here.
Councilman O'Hanlon.
Here.
Councilman Reifenberg.
Here.
Supervisor Delvecchio.
Here.
And Town Attorney Emily Svensson.
Here.
Thank you. Adoption of the agenda as is. I believe we have two items for special consideration, correct?
Yep, so I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have in receipt and acceptance of the minutes of the reorg meeting from 1/2/23 and also the workshop meeting on 1/9/23. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All official correspondence are on file at the clerk's office. And tonight we have one of our county legislators, Deirdre Houston. Deirdre, do you have anything you want to fill us in on? And by all means.
Is it? There you go.
Good evening. Just two things. I just wanted to make sure you guys all got my email today in regards to the letter that the county is going to need for support for the bus shelter for the right-of-way.
Did you see my reply?
I did. I
Okay.
replied back to you.
Yeah,
but
he was my
yes.
former landlord, so.
Yeah, if you guys could just write a letter of support for the right-of-way to build the bus shelter, because the New York State right-of-way is not large enough, so we're going to need an easement from Milestone Square. So that, first of all, and of course, we can all circle around and figure that out if you need help with it. And then secondly, in December, New York State passed a law allowing counties, towns, school districts to pass exemptions for firemen and first responders. So at our legislative meeting on Monday night, last Monday, we laid a local law on the desk, and we plan on voting it through committee February 9th, and hopefully, after debate on the floor, voting it into law on the county on February 14th, allowing for a 10% exemption on first responders and firemen on their assessed property value of their primary residence in the county. Of course, this is just on the county portion of the bill, and we realize that it's not a large impact financially to anybody. It's not going to give, they're not getting their house for free after this, but it's just a small token and a way for towns to retain and hopefully get more volunteers to the firemen and to the first responders. So something we're planning on doing in the county, and of course towns and school districts can do the same. So just coming out and reminding everyone that that's a possibility, and the state is also doing it on the state level, again up to 10%.
I have one question.
Yes.
I was going to email you this. Is there a standard, a minimum standard, as it make the determination of what the volunteer would be? I mean, does someone have to show up a minimum amount of times for a minimum amount of calls, or is there just?
No,
sign
there's
up?
definitely going to be a standard.
Okay.
And it will be on the first responder, the fire person has to be on the deed, obviously, of the house. So if it's, a minor child who is the firefighter, they would not be allowed the exemption. It has to be the primary residence of the owner of the home.
And New York State will provide the standard that we got to go by?
I believe so, yes. And if not, I can get it for you.
Thank you.
Yep. Anything else for me? Great. Thanks.
Thank you very much,
Thanks,
Deirdre.
Deidre.
Okay.
Did you want to take a vote to send that letter on the right-of-way?
Oh, yeah, in support of? Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
At this time, it gives me great pleasure to bring to the microphone a gentleman from the food pantry who has been working with the food pantry and has diligently been with them and has done a great job. Mr. Steve Gesser.
Thank you. Test. Okay, good. Thanks for having me. I have handouts.
Huh?
Oh, here, it's just gonna be like Sunday school. Take one down and take one and pass it down. Good evening, everybody. So, I was asked to come here by John to present the 2022 pantry summary, let's just call it that. As I hope everyone knows, we have a food pantry here in Pleasant Valley. It's at the Methodist Church over on Martin Road. We've been operating there since the late 80s. I took over the directorship, if you will, of that, if you can call it that, in about 4 years ago. I've been doing it. At that time, we transitioned from a sort of the classic hand out a bag of food to people to what we call a choice menu. It means that people can come in, order the food that they want. We fill it from the pantry inventory and then deliver it to their cars and things like that. We've also used it as a platform for other services. We have a coat donation program and things like that. And I'd like to talk a little bit about what I call the new face of hunger. I think historically people have thought of people that need food as sort of being down and out, and that's not the way it is anymore. Most of the patrons, as we call them, that need food are there because they're, they have to make a choice between buying gas for their car or clothes for their kids and food on the table. It's a difficult and challenging kind of environment. What I've shared with the council here, board you guys, is, for those in the audience, is the history of what we did this year, just in 2022 alone. I just want to remind everybody, we're open from 6:30, from 6 o'clock until 7:30, only on one night a month, or one night a week, on Wednesday nights. And during that time, on the chart in front of you is just the performance or the volume of people that we've had. The blue line is the total number of people that we've served by month over the last, through the entire year of 2022. I put in a note there that said inflation impact, and I want to draw your attention to that. We've seen a 67% increase in the number of people that we've served over last year, and a 2% increase over what we largely view as the, quote, pandemic year, which is 2020. We served this year alone over 4,000 individuals received food from the food pantry. And just a reminder, we're open 90 minutes a week. And we served 4,000 individuals, 700 households, 900 children, 1,200 adults, and 120 seniors. We distributed approximately, this is an approximation, 80,000 pounds of food over the last year. We receive about a quarter of our food from community donations. I mean, food product donations. The other 60,000 pounds came from the Food Bank of Northeastern New York. They're located in Cornwall. However, we order food from their Latham distribution center. Just make a little comment about that. Food prices with the distribution costs, fuel-related distribution costs, have nearly gone up 40% at the food bank. For example, just today we had a delivery of 2,200 pounds of food. And I always have volunteers come on Mondays to help unload the food, and also we have volunteers that deliver the food or pick up the food at Dutchess County Community College. And that food cost was nearly $1,800. So while it's economical to order from the food bank, everything's risen in price. And of course, so as you can see from the chart, has our volumes. And you can kind of see, it's kind of an interesting, I've tried a number of times to predict what our monthly volumes will be, and I've given up. But you can kind of see that the growth that we've seen over the course of the year. We started last year in January very low, and then now we're at over 400 served in December. We also, in December, we put out 93 what we call holiday packs. We provide turkeys, pork loins. We called them fat chickens. What they are USDA HIPNAP approved or nutritionally approved roasting chickens for a holiday meal. We do it in December instead of at Thanksgiving. We do it for Christmas. And I have at the food pantry somewhere between 15 and 20 volunteers every week. for those of you who don't know, it's a completely volunteer program. There is no, it's all community-driven, it's all volunteer-driven, and that's what we do. We've stabilized our situation. Some of you may have heard we were challenged about a year ago with location. We've stabilized it, but we're paying, and again, donations from the community support the food pantry, not just food donations, cash donations, buy the food from the food bank. But we also use it, we're paying for the utilities as well as, garbage, things like that for the location that we're in. Because the church there is pretty much not operating. It's pretty much just us there. So that's what we're taking care of. And it's interesting. So that's all I have. I just wanted to give you guys a quick update. The volume numbers to remember are we're 67% over, 2% higher than pandemic. 80,000 pounds of food goes out of our local town food pantry. And we're open. We have deliveries on Mondays of food when we need it, or we order it from the food bank. And we always need volunteers. So, and then we're open on Wednesday nights. So, any questions?
Would you just mind running through where, if people wanted to donate food or write a check or whatnot, just
Sure.
how to go about that?
Yeah, they can make a check out to the food pantry if they want to. It's pretty basic. Or the Pleasant Valley Ecumenical Food Pantry if they want to call it the whole big, long name. And they can mail it to 92 Martin Road. They can also call me, or they can get my name off the message machine they can call the number. It's 635-3022. Or call me at 845-214-2078. It's my cell phone. I usually get a lot of calls about when we're open. And we're already in the month of January, I think we've served more than we did last January. So if we start to look ahead here,
Gonna be up.
volumes have continued. The shelves were empty this morning, John,
Yeah,
before we got the order. So it's like that a lot.
yeah, I've seen it empty and I've seen it overfill, but it goes fast. It really, really does. It does not last long.
Yeah, at that rate, we're putting out somewhere between 1,500 and 2,000 pounds of food a night every time we're open. So it's a lot. Average family of 4 will get 6 bags of groceries. And now we're supposed to be an emergency food pantry, and we are. That will feed a family of 4 to 5 for, our estimate is somewhere between 5 and 6 days. That's our objective. And I didn't mention this too, and then I'll get off the podium here, but we're, because I could go on. But we are also, we follow nutritional requirements because we're affiliated with the food bank, and that's how we get a lot of our food. We have to offer certain products for nutritional value. So we offer a lot of frozen meats, a lot of proteins. And the reason we went to the choice menu, as we call it, is there's a quote that I picked up now years ago from the food bank personnel. It's not nutrition if they don't eat it. And they were finding out that about half of the products that were put in these packs that people are given without asking them what they want, about half of the food that's in there gets either returned or thrown away. So it's an interesting thing these days as people are struggling. And what I've learned is that the impact of inflation is actually greater than the pandemic. It's kind of interesting.
It is.
Because we stayed open through the pandemic. We were fully masked and gloved and goggled and all that kind of stuff, but it was, I expected it to be big, but even this is even bigger. Yes?
I have a question for you. Are food banks allowed to start GoFundMe pages for the food banks?
Sure,
Are you allowed to do that?
sure.
Could you
Any
advertise for that?
pantry could do
Could you
that, yeah.
advertise for that? The Pleasant Valley website?
Yeah, I've never had a GoFundMe page. We've always had to be candid, and this is really a credit to this community, everybody that's here, everybody that lives in this community, all of you board members. This is a really generous community. Only now are we starting to see, I'm a little worried about because prices of food that I'm getting from the food bank are so high now, or they're not high. I mean, I can get a bundle of 30 rolls of paper towel for $9, but last year it was $7. So everything's going up.
Right.
But we've never really needed a GoFundMe page. Yeah. Yeah, we could. Yeah, there's no reason not to. It's, yep. We've, lots of community donations usually come in though. So. All right, thank you.
Steve?
Other questions?
No, anyone else? Steve, on behalf of this board and the people of this community, I want to thank you very much for all that you do and keeping it all together and making sure that those bags are full and every piece of it. Every time you get a call, you're there to receive whatever is offered. And I highly suggest anybody here who has nothing to do with your time, go spend one day just either receiving a delivery, or I have yet to be there when they pass it out. I intend to do that at least once.
Yeah.
But even receiving of it and putting it on the shelves is a lot of work. And to your credit to all the people who volunteer and yourself, thank you so
They're
very much.
spectacular.
Appreciate it.
And Keith, thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you all. Thank you all.
Yeah, I'll stand.
Oh, now that's enough.
Thank you. You're free to leave. Also with us tonight, we have Mr. Joseph Horsky from the Dutchess County Mental Health of America Vet to Vet program. Joe, you want to come up and say a few words? Who do you have with you?
This is Victor Zimmerman. He's my partner in the VetSat program. How you doing, everybody? All right, so like I said, just for anybody who doesn't know what Mental Health America's Veterans Programs is. Lights on. Okay. All right. Yeah, so what we do is Vet to Vet itself is a peer mentoring service for veterans. In that we also have the VetTap program that I manage with Victor, and we have what's called the HERO program, which is a housing program. So with those three, we cover the peer mentoring, the employment, and the housing. And pretty much any other problem you can think of that a veteran might have, anything, they have problems with the VA, we can at least refer them to somebody if we can't do anything personally about it. Which is, unfortunately, that's the case a lot of the time. The VA is a lot bigger than we are. So, we do what we can. But we are new to Pleasant Valley in our little building off to the side. So if anybody has any questions or wants to know more about it, you can always reach out to us. The main number over there is 845-473-2500, and my extension is 1346. From there, you can get to anybody in the veterans programs. That's pretty much it, unless anybody has questions. Victor's going to talk a little bit about our recent move from Poughkeepsie to Pleasant Valley.
One more program that's just starting up, Staff Sergeant Fox. Oh, you can't hear me?
Well, it's just better for the
Sergeant
recording.
Fox, Veterans Suicide Prevention and Awareness. He was a soldier that committed suicide, and his sister started a foundation. So there was a grant, and we applied for it and got a nice, sizable an amount. So that's another program, standalone. I work half with Joe, and the other half, I'm the outreach coordinator for that program. We're going to be going to places like this, veterans organizations, the VFW, anybody that doesn't know about veteran suicide. It's approximately 22 a day, even though versus civilian, it's a small number, but not to us. So that Staff Sergeant Fox is added to Vet. Everybody says Vet to Vet, but it's really 5 groups that we work with. Also, as Joe said, we just moved into the building that John Mortone used to own, and Dr. Sims just moved out. So on the left of the building is the County Veteran Service Organization, which is Adam Roche. He takes care of that. Right. Then we're in the middle, and we will be building more on the end. We're going to have, right now we have a little food pantry. The VA is going to partner with us, and they'll have 2 telehealth rooms where a veteran can come in and do their appointments, or if they need to meet with a doctor, they can do it in a room privately with our computers. So there's some plans, but that building is right across from where Civil Armory is. People don't see it from the road. You'll be seeing us in front of you again when we ask permission for a sign, and we go through that process. So a lot of good things.
That's great.
Thank you. Any questions? Thank you.
No, but I do have some comments because I've been involved with this program in a few different ways since Senator Sue Serino first got us the funding to have it in Dutchess County in early 2015. And there were times when I helped out as a mentor. There were times that I helped out with events. But as a veteran, I have to tell you, these folks have helped me out an awful lot. There were times that I was at the end of my rope and just going a group and sitting down with these guys and letting it go for an hour in a room where what was said there stayed there, and you could pour out whatever you needed to, and you were with your brothers.
And sisters.
And sisters. I thank God that we had this program, and I thank God for these fellas. God bless you.
You too, Keith.
Do you have
Thank
a
you.
webpage that would be posted on the Pleasant Valley Facebook so that way you
Yes.
can spread the word that you're there and whatever meetings that you have available and any resources that you have?
MHA Vet to Vet, and we do have a presence on the internet. So if there's a problem and you can't get to it, Joe gave you his number. My extension is 1386, but if you call the main number, they're going to call us anyway. Thank you.
The only thing I would suggest, gentlemen, if you would like to, and maybe I'm overstepping my boundary from offering it, but if you'd like to have some kind of poster or a sign-up sheet here at Town Hall so people could see in the front that they have your information and they can get to it quickly. And as well as for us to have immediately so that we can refer someone if we feel that there's someone we know that might benefit from having your services.
Good question. There is a national hotline for crisis, suicide, but not just suicide. It's 988. They took the 800 number and condensed it. So if it's suicide and is a veteran, 988, dial 1. If it's regular crisis, if there is such a thing, just do the 988. That's 24/7. Someone will answer that phone, and then they'll get you local resources. But that's the national number.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you very much, gentlemen. Appreciate it. Welcome to the neighborhood.
When we have the open house, we will invite you.
Please send us all the invitation. Be honored to be there. All right. At this time, I move to open the meeting to the public for agenda items only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So agenda items only. Carol, you know, you don't have to raise your hand. Get up, the first one's first serve up around here.
Carol Campbell, 122 Marshall. I see there's a resolution on here for... I'm sure. Is that it?
Did she shut it off? Did they shut it off?
No, it's on.
Okay. Project. You must
Have I ever
project.
not projected, Mr. Delvecchio?
I've heard you louder than
Okay.
that.
I just wanted to talk about number 3, the resolution for Daniel Duffy. As you're aware, I was here when everything was going on with the power lines. I just want to state that I drove home up Van Wagner Road the other day and was in total shock.
I want to piggyback. I said the exact same thing to my wife. It is ridiculous. I feel bad for the people that live across the street.
It's absolutely horrendous.
They built some giant, they're putting up something that literally looks like a tennis ball that's got like spikes coming off of it. That literally, whoever has the house across the street on Van Wagner Road, it literally, like, good luck selling their house,
It's
unfortunately.
absolutely horrible.
Mhm.
And I have to tell you, going back to when, you know, we started the Hudson Valley Smart Energy Coalition and we were looking at all this.
Folks, we need a quiet in the audience. We're having a tough time hearing
I don't think I ever, as hard as we fought, to worry about the height of the power lines and the style of the power lines themselves. I never, ever envisioned when we were doing all of that, that we were going to be looking at something like that. Dan Duffy's a great guy, and I know what his place is in this, and I'm hoping that the town also appreciates what he does. But that's a little different than kind of looking at we are now. Intervenor funding and all that kind of stuff is a little different. I would encourage this board to please see if there's anything they could do to go down there or talk to somebody that's part of this construction right now and maybe voice our concerns for our residents here in town. I see your face, Frankie, and I understand that it's a little late in the process, but I would just hope that the town would try to just kind of keep an eye on it if they could.
So
All right.
just, if I may, normally we're not supposed to have this back and forth. We're supposed to thank you and move on. But just to give you an update of where we are, myself and Councilwoman Albrecht have been to that site. We know the family very well. I don't want to say their name. And we've inquired as to what is supposed to happen there. And they assured us that they're supposed to fix their visual problem. That's what their promise was, I believe, when you were supervisor. We could, at this point, only make sure that they actually follow through with that. And what is fixing their visual problem? I can't imagine they're going to be able to fix that. So, I mean, planting a tree 20 feet high is
None of
not
us are-
going to come close to that in
None of us are
400
going
years.
to be able to see
Right,
that.
it better be a redwood from, in any case, so we're at the point now where we don't have a lot of choices, a lot of options, but to make sure that they do at least what they said they were going to do is about what we can do at this point.
I appreciate that, and Councilwoman Albrecht, I appreciate your input in this also. Thank you very much. And John, Mr. Supervisor,
It's okay, you don't have to call me that.
I appreciate your feedback with me on my question so that everybody else in the audience that is watching also understands that it hasn't fallen beside and you're looking at it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Gary Veeder, Salt Point Turnpike, Pleasant Valley. Glad I didn't have to bring my popcorn and stuff tonight.
Not over.
Question, actually, it's kind of a small comment, if I can find it. You have a thing on the cleaning the town garage. I read this thing 4 or 5 times. It doesn't tell me how often they're going to do it.
I believe the idea is at the same time that they come here, which is once a week,
Once a week.
or once a month, or
It actually says on the quote bi-weekly.
bi-weekly. That's right.
It says where?
Bi-weekly.
I see bi-weekly, but that's payment to be made as follows, bi-weekly. Payment doesn't tell me how often they're going to do it.
I believe they're coming bi-weekly, yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's really not on here, so.
So the way I would read it, Gary, is that we pay for a service and we would only pay for it when we receive it. So if we receive it bi-weekly, we would pay for it bi-weekly.
Okay, if you say so. That's twice a month, that's $240 twice for a month of cleaning the highway department. My wife suggested I pay her that for what she does in the house, and I decided that was too much. I think that does it for tonight. I do support the refurbishing of the truck to be used by the building department. That to me makes more sense than buying new.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Not seeing anyone. I move to close the meeting to the public at this time.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. So, old business discussions.
Old or new?
I'm sorry, where'd I go? I jumped.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought it was new.
I just took a big jump. All right, new business. Appraisal for the town highway truck. So we have with us the set appraisal, or, yeah, of what the truck is worth that was used for the highway department for the last 15 years, I believe, and what life it's got left, and it comes to, what was that, 40, what was the final? $4,500. So we have to make a decision as to, you know, whether or not we put that truck up for auction or purchase it ourselves. I believe our highway superintendent has made us an offer. I don't think we can refuse,
Yeah, no, I understand.
which is split the difference, and I think that's a good deal for that truck. So
And that would,
I don't know if anybody,
just to clarify, that would go to the building inspector, yes?
that would go to the building
okay.
department, building inspector, so that they can actually do more building site spots.
Yeah.
And we don't have to pay the mileage that goes to the zoning and building department. I think it's a good deal.
Yeah, I mean, my personal opinion is I think we should just, we should do it. I mean, our budget for this year, actually, we took out the mileage line for
Right.
a bunch of different offices in anticipation of purchasing this, so
Yep.
I have no reason not to do it.
And it's good to have our building inspector and maybe our zoning administrator to go to a site that actually has an emblem on the side of the car. It's official. They're not using their vehicle. It's a little more dangerous that way.
Yeah, no, I would say just have
I agree.
whatever resolution we need to draw up to
Yep.
move the asset from
Mary,
one.
how do you feel down there?
Fine, except, what are we gonna do about, hate that thing. What are we gonna do about Jason?
So,
Because he's up there so far away. To
Right.
share is really not going to
so
work
this
very
truck
well.
will be down here, and we could utilize it in a bunch of different manners, too. So if it's not a day where they're going out and making a whole bunch of inspections and using it, and if it's sitting there, let's have Jason use it to where it goes back and forth. We could share it. I mean, it's not that big of a deal.
Can we take the other truck and put it up there for it to be used? Because he's not
Let's-
gonna just be at Helen Aldrich.
No, not at all. Let's take one step at a time. Let's get this one first and see what kind of shape, how much we can actually use it. Is it something that we want to maybe give back to the guys in this department and see if it's, and then take that other truck and use it the other way? Let's see what we got.
So piggybacking on Mary's comment, though, my only question really is, the two trucks that we currently use, if I'm not mistaken, I think they are owned by REC. So like, we should maybe worry about what asset belongs to what, who's using what asset.
When we get that other truck,
Yeah. So,
we can start divvying things up. So everyone's
Is the
okay
other
with?
one, is the other one coming soon?
He's
new
got,
one?
I think he gave up on the one that he ordered, which
Yeah, I
I
know.
guess was a lot more, he had a lot more
Yeah.
on it and stuff like
Yeah.
that, so it just wasn't happening, so he went and found another one that was a good, I think was less than what it was originally quoted for.
Oh, that's nice.
So that's good.
Okay.
So he's gonna have the truck that he needs, we're gonna get an extra truck, we can utilize it at the best we possibly can here.
yeah, okay.
And at that
We
price, I
definitely
can't
need
see
it.
why we can't buy that, so. And for you folks listening at home, you can't just have the highway department turn around and give you something. We have to, they have their separate budget, they purchased it, we have to buy it from them. So it's a formality. I know it's all in the same pool.
Moving money from
but
one
just moving
pocket to
from
the
one to the other. So we're all in agreement? We can move forward?
yeah.
All right, great.
So the number is 2,250?
Yes.
And we're moving it
Wow.
from general into highway equipment? Or
Yes,
wherever,
we'll
yeah.
just shift it over, right? Okay.
Do you, I guess to Emily's point is, have you spoken to Melanie about where we're getting the money for it? Just so I can, if you're writing a resolution up, we can get the actual
Not yet.
spot it's coming
We
from?
just got the appraisal, so we'll speak with
Do
her.
you want to
where we're
work on
gonna-
that, or do you
I
want?
can take care of
Okay.
this, it's minor. Okay, cleaning the highway department was just brought up. So, this is bi-weekly, and, you know, I was thinking, because he is here every Saturday cleaning this place, in just foregoing, my personal take, is foregoing 1 week here, and just having him do it up there once a month. That's just my thought.
Well, can I ask the question? We used to do this, a supervisor ago, weekly, and I think that we all thought that that was too much.
It was too much.
But at the same time, I mean, I'm gonna voice the argument that bi-weekly makes sense to me, because at what we pay the highway guys for them to clean the bath, I mean, like, you can't
I
beat
agree.
that price.
And we have.
Right.
uh,
And I mean, like, they do, especially on days like today where they're actually living out of that building, like, the least we could do is clean it so we can have salted and cleaned roads. I mean, $120 to me, or $240, based off everything else we spend here, it seems like a drop in the bucket monthly. So, I mean, I would motion that we just approve this.
I
Okay.
agree. Plus, we have a woman up there cleaning the toilets.
We
Yes.
have
Works in the office.
Correct, and she's running around like the den
Yeah.
mother.
That should not be.
Yes, and the weekly here was when we were at the height of COVID. We
Yep.
had to have everything disinfected
Right.
every week, and we had to, we're okay here bi-weekly.
Oh, yeah, I think if we did everything bi-weekly, I think it would make sense,
Okay,
so.
so we can make that adjustment, no problem. Okay, you're okay with that?
Yeah, I just like we talked about, just making sure we know where the money's coming from. Have we talked to the highway superintendent?
Yes, we did.
Are we paying for this,
We
or is this
paid for it,
coming?
it's ours,
Okay,
it's
so
not out of theirs.
before we enter into this, we should sit down with Melanie and make a budget modification and put the money aside.
Okay. Okay, resolution, 139, 2023, the Daniel Duluth Councilwoman Albrecht. So basically, the authorization of engagement of Daniel Duluth Esquire to represent the town on New York Transco high voltage transmission, I believe, is coming to an end. Is that correct?
Yes.
So we're going to move to end our relationship with him at this point?
Yes.
Okay.
There is nothing more he can do.
There's really nothing he can do to
No.
represent us at this point. So, do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Oh, any discussion?
We didn't pass this resolution already, did we?
No, we
did
tabled
not.
it, so we don't need to do anything with it, do we?
We don't,
We just don't need to.
We just don't need
We
to-
don't need to do anything, because this was appointing him to do it, so.
Yeah,
Well,
So we-
was his engagement on a year-to-year
Yeah.
basis? I mean, do you
we
want
did
to
it
just,
every year.
maybe you could just take a vote to
Oh, all
just
right, so,
continue it?
so,
how do you want to do it? What should we
all
do?
right, so,
Yeah.
should we remake the motion, because the motion was based off
Yeah,
of
we
this,
don't
right?
need to.
Yeah, no, I'll make a motion that we
Act
just,
on this.
we no longer employ Daniel P. Duffy Esquire to represent us in Transco.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Electronic recycling, effective January 2023. Our town clerk and our highway superintendent were going to speak on it. He is not here. He's still under the weather.
I'm sure he's dealing with the roads.
Yeah, well, he's probably out there doing that. And our town clerk could not be here tonight, so we'll push this off. Is that okay with everybody?
Yeah.
Ethics Board interviews. I need somebody to join me on interviews. We have several people that have inquired. Mary, would you be interested in doing
Yeah.
that again? You and I again?
Yeah, that's fine.
And then amending Resolution 7010, 2022, and 310 of 2022, appointment of zoning appeals. Oh, I'm sorry, we're going to go right to the other one, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to leave those alone for now. We'll deal with that later. And then this will be the resolution of reappointing to the Zoning Board of Appeals, whereas John Dunn has expressed the interest in being reappointed as a member of the Zoning Board of Appeals. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board and the Town of Pleasant Valley does hereby designate and reappoint John Dunn as member of the Zoning Board of Appeals to fill a 5-year term effective immediately as follows. Appointment January 9th, 2023. Term expires January 9th, 2027.
So we've already,
So we're making,
we've already passed this, so I'll make a motion to
To change
amend,
it.
to amend this.
right,
The term expires, it should be December 31st of 2027, which would then make it a 5-year term.
right.
Yeah, the state law says that they're supposed to end at the end of the year. And I thought that we were changing it to December 31st, 2027, but we got our signals crossed.
So we're making a motion to amend it. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Michael.
Okay. That's that. New business resolutions. Town Board Resolution 151, 2023, authorizing payment of abstract number 1 of 2023, whereas the Town of Pleasant Valley and the Town Board has ordered the bills presented by the Town Clerk, and an abstract has been compiled. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board hereby authorizes supervisor to pay all claims as follows. Abstract 1 of 2023, general fund claims, $199,769.39. Abstract 1 of 2023, highway fund claims, $93,411.45. Abstract 1 of 2023, ambulance, $38,776.50. Abstract 1 of 2023, prepaid, $6,202.51. Abstract 1, 2023, library, $123,750. Abstract 1 of 2023, our light district, $5,091.52. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry, is there, do you recuse on, no, you're okay,
On the library?
okay. Yeah.
Okay, and we have a motion, second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Huh? I don't have to read the numbers? But I don't have to read the numbers? Oh, hey, that's fine. Okay.
I would read the number, but you could,
Just the
All
header.
right.
just the header. Just
So
the
this
header.
is authorizing the payment of abstract number 1P of 2023. Abstract 1 of 2023, planning and zoning escrow invoices, $4,482.39. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, this is attention of the planning, the zoning and planning attorney, Vanderwater and Vanderwater contract. Sure.
Do we know that?
Yeah, you have to,
This is the first time I've ever learned that. This is the town board number.
it's for the payment.
I know. That's what,
Yeah.
I'm just asking. I care less, but
Because it's also for the building and zoning.
I got you. No, I get it. I
Yeah.
just,
So-
okay.
What am I not reading here?
You don't, I'm not sure why it was written this way. You don't need, just read the heading.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
looks like a planning
Alright.
and zoning, like a planning board resolution that wasn't filled in.
Yeah, it reads totally different than the normal ones. All right. So this is a Town Board Resolution 153, 2023, retention of zoning and planning attorney, Vanderwater and Vanderwater.
I
Do
don't
I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution Number 154, 2023, waiving the 30-day notice period for liquor license of application for the Village Restaurant and Pancake Factory. Because when you need a drink with your pancakes.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I know, when I have
Well, you can have
pancakes,
mimosas with your
I'm-
pancakes.
no,
You can have
sometimes.
mimosas with your pancakes.
Sometimes. It's okay.
We sell a lot of those mimosas.
Town Board Resolution 155, 2023, resolution ratifying a collective bargaining agreement between the Town of Pleasant Valley and Local 456 International Brotherhood of Teamsters. Yay.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And Town Board Resolution 156, 2023, amending provisions of the Town Board of Pleasant Valley Employee Handbook.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
I'll make a motion to allow Resolution 157 of 2022 on the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Which one are you talking? I'm all out of resolutions.
Amending the 2022 general budget.
This one. Do you have one after the, yeah?
Nope. The handbook? I'll take yours, all right. Yep. Town Board Resolution 157, 2022, amending the 2022 general fund budget.
So moved.
I got a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I'll make a motion to allow an update for discussion to be put under old business discussions for an update for Granicus.
I second it. All in favor?
Aye.
You going to give it?
Yes, so I just want to give a quick update to the board and the residents. I know it's been a long time coming, and we hear a lot of complaints about how difficult it is to find the minutes and the agendas and the video and whatnot on the website. About 6 months ago, we entered into an agreement with a company called Granicus, and we're moving. We have the new hardware over there. It's installed. I want to thank Dave Talbot. He spent the last 6 days here volunteering for the town to get all these microphones working, getting all the audio through to the new server and whatnot. But we're moving ahead. It's going to make it a lot easier for the residents to be able to find the agendas, the minutes, the videos. It'll all be in one place on the website. We started training this morning for some of the folks in the town hall, the employees who are going to be administrators of that. And I'm hoping they have the templates and whatnot kind of generated. So my hope is at the next town board meeting, I'll be able to give a presentation for the residents to kind of see what it's going to look like and how you'll utilize it and whatnot. So I know it's very difficult because it's all happening behind the scenes, but I figured it would be good to give you an update that a lot of stuff's going on, you just don't see it yet, so.
Thank you, Michael.
you.
That was a lot of work, too. I
Yep.
was here the other day. It's a whole lot of work.
It wouldn't have happened without Dave, so
Yeah,
a
Dave
lot of
got-
thanks goes to Dave Talbot.
Dave is a genius when it comes to that stuff. Excellent. All right. Old business discussion, credit card update, anything from the Finance Committee? Where are we, or is there anything?
No.
Nothing,
As a matter of
okay.
fact,
Nothing yet?
So I'm going to get Michael to call him because
Okay,
obviously I'm doing something wrong on my messages.
okay. That's fine. Sometimes that's why two people
Which
are
has
on.
been about 10 of
Sometimes different eyes look at things differently. Security at the parks, we've dubbed this lights, camera, action. So I have in my possession one quote so far from one company on cameras, and it was the same company that put the cameras that we have now inside this building. So it's already, the prices have gone up since that's 4 cameras. I wanted to get an idea where we would be, where we should start, how much this might go for. It's obviously over the procurement policy numbers, so we're going to probably have to go out to RFP when we do that. Here's what I do know, after a lot of climbing with this gentleman, is that it's all based on this one particular camera which would be focused on the eternal flame area, and from how the distance that it's coming from is going to create a more of an intense camera, so it's going to be more expensive. That's why the price is higher. And it needs to stay on the building because of the internet piece to it. So I asked, well, we have electricity over by the eternal flame. Why can't we get a regular camera and just stick it right on that? He says, you're never going to see, you're never going to be able to record it. It's not
Right.
going to happen. So I'd like to go get some different options, see who else comes up with some different plans, if that's okay with you guys, and move forward. Did you find anything on lights? You mentioned the other day about,
Yes, I did do a slow walkthrough of the park a week ago today. And although we do have a lot of light posts around, we do have electric through most of the site. It was my determination that we really don't have any fixtures in place that we can actually use for LED lights to illuminate the place. So we also, I think we need to have to put it out to bid and see what it would cost us for probably half a dozen extra fixtures at a height where they would do some good, and then getting some LED lighting in, and then we have to decide, do we want them to come on just motion sensing between dusk and dawn, or do we want them on continuous between dusk and dawn? But I think it would be a really good idea to get some bids and some suggestions from some companies that do this all the time.
any legal prowess part of it? Because one of the things, going through all this trouble of getting cameras and lights, and then you have somebody and you can't do anything with them.
Right, I asked Warren to write us a memo on that from his experience with other towns.
So he's working
Yeah.
on that? Great, excellent. All right.
Did we get the lights that are currently there working? I know there was an
There's a
electrical
couple of them
problem.
out. There's one little one, there's a problem with one shorting. We don't know where that is yet, and we're trying to identify what that problem was, but probably, there's a couple things going on with the lights, so we're gonna check out what it is.
Okay,
And then we'll get those fixed, at least what they are, replace the bulbs and stuff.
okay.
You know, they're doing a lot more with the solar lights for that also, and that might be another way of us going. But Emily, I have one question, which will make a difference with John doing this RFP for the cameras. That procurement policy, are we bringing that forward to be able to, okay, because
Yeah.
that would make a difference,
Okay.
a little bit anyway.
Yeah, sure.
It would make it easier.
Yeah, I wanted to have it for today, but I didn't. But
That's all
I
right.
think either way, it's going to be in the category of a written RFP.
Written one.
Written,
Not
yeah.
have to go,
I
okay.
think so.
All
yeah.
right.
But
fine.
it wouldn't rise to the level of a formal bid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good, thank you.
Well, that'd be good. I mean, just get three people to, three different quotes.
Yeah, you need a written RFP and then written quotes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Excellent.
So do you want, do you need a motion to allow you to have Emily write up an RFP for you, or?
Are we there yet, or do we want to just ask a couple more companies? I mean,
Well, I think if
Well, you have to put out the RFP to get the quotes from them.
Yeah, for the process to be valid.
let's do it that way.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So I'll make a motion to allow you to work with Emily to send out an RFP for a camera system at the mill site.
I'll
Second.
second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good, okay. And I will give you a copy of what I had already asked, so this way it's apples to apples.
Yeah,
and
perfect.
That's perfect. Okay. At this point in time, we get to open the meeting up to the public, one time only.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Not hearing any?
I think that's on. So good evening, this is Sue Bellevue from Pleasant Valley, Wigston Road. So I just wanted to have this opportunity. I left here 2 weeks ago talking about what I could do to get my point across about Wigston. So I took it upon myself with my husband and some other people in the town to put up a petition to talk about
What do we want as residents of Pleasant Valley? Because I felt that all the information wasn't out there, and there was that we needed the opportunity to speak up if we didn't want something in our town. So what I learned was that there were so many people that were against this, and that with me just putting one petition up, it got sent all over Pleasant Valley. It got sent everywhere to people who used to live in Pleasant Valley. It was amazing the amount of people that spoke up and said, absolutely not. And so I wanted to share with you some of the reasons that people said no. And I know that the developer withdrew his petition right now. It's not to say he's not going to come back, but I think that it would be wise for me to share some of the comments that were made. Some of the comments were made were that this is a town of Pleasant Valley, that we are country, that our roads were not equipped to have an additional 148 apartments and probably an additional 148 cars, if not more, because the apartments that were going to go up, the average price, from what I gather from Brookside and Eastdale, we're looking at one bedrooms anywhere between $2,000 to $2,800 a month. Now, I'm not going to say that's 100% accurate, but I know people who live in both areas. So you would think that you would have 2 adults renting out that apartment. So it's not 148 cars. You're looking at probably maybe 190, 200, 300. You don't really know, and it's just an estimate of what that would mean on Wigston Road, North Avenue, Salt Point Turnpike, West Road. So that was a concern that a lot of the residents had. Another concern was the water. Do we have adequate studies about what that would do to the water? I heard that there was issues in Eastdale. I don't know. I'm just sharing what was said. There was a concern about the amount of children attending Arlington School. So I know that my son's graduating in Arlington High School this year, and there's a class over of 900. It comes to a point where people left the city, came up here because this country, this is beautiful up here. We are proud to live in Pleasant Valley. We are proud of our vacant land and the grass and the cows and the horses. We have a long-standing pride of being in Dutchess County. We don't want to be Westchester. We're not saying that the person who purchased land here doesn't have the right to develop on his property, but you don't buy a piece of property with a zone in place and then go ahead and ask to have it rezoned. That's like me going to the store and buying hamburger and then demanding that I get prime rib. I knew exactly what I was buying. And I have no right to ask for more. So we, from what I gather, and everyone's coming up and talking, just want to make sure that it's clear that we're not against development in Pleasant Valley. We would like to see Pleasant Valley grow. We would like to see our storefronts have more business. We want a beautiful Pleasant Valley, but we want it with the conditions that were already in place. It was already zoned. He can do whatever he would like within the zone that's already in place. Now, I live on Wigston Road, and I drive down Wigston. I can go, and when I pass to go to, I don't go down 44, because forget it, that's a mess. So I take Salt Point Turnpike to get to the hospital, because I have a 30-minute time to get to the OR. So I know right away that I'm going down Salt Point. But when I drive down Wigston, to the left, I see that beautiful red barn. But what don't I see? I don't see it cleaned up. I seen trash outside that barn. I see piles of stuff. So that Brookside has been going on for quite some time. Why does that still look a mess? And why should we trust the developer that he's going to clean up any new area that he puts in place? So I ask all of you, like you just went down to look at the place on Van Wagner, go down by Brookside, walk along Wigston Road, and see what a mess that is by that barn. There are children that play in that Brookside apartments. Why is that area a hazard to children? So I just wanted to share that there was over 500 petitions, and I have a feeling that this developer will once again ask you to consider his rezone, and I would like for you to all consider that there was a large outpouring, and that was me in 2 weeks with me working a full-time job. I am willing to go door to door and get more and more. So I ask that all of you, that we elected you, to please do your due diligence and go ask the residents of Pleasant Valley what we want. I know the developer sent out a petition to his own people, so let's be clear on what he put in that petition. In that letter that he wrote that the apartment rents are 40 to 50% more around here. Well, he owns those apartments that are 40 to 50% more. He actually put in his letter with his petition, please sign my petition, that if this is passed, the cost of doing business would be spread out among many tenants. Now, if I got that, and I lived in Brookside, and I got this thing from my landlord saying, please sign it, and that the cost would be spread out over many, that's insinuating to me that if I didn't sign it, my rent could go up. That's intimidation. I know that I sent my petition out to everybody, and there was no hidden agenda. There was no like, hey, sign it, or otherwise your rent may go up, or don't sign it. But when you put that in a letter to your tenants, and it's just going to them, that's kind of, I mean, I talked to some people. I run 5 areas at Vassar Brothers Hospital, and some of those people live in those apartments, and they all came up to me and said, oh my goodness, how dare he insinuate that our rent could go up by 40 to 50%? Please sign my petition. So when this comes up again, I want you to all please consider how that was worded. And those signatures on that petition, please, that should go away. You don't put that on a letter and insinuate that if you don't vote for me, that your rents may go up. That's horrible. That's abusive. And this is not what Pleasant Valley needs. We need people that treat people with respect and do things the right way. So I implore all of you to please, if this comes up again, to do the right thing, listen to the town of Pleasant Valley, take it where it's coming from, and understand that we want things to be better here. We're only asking you to abide by what was already zoned and respect us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Donna Truhaff, 48 Waterloo. I want to follow up with what she just said. I was under the impression, and I could be wrong because I was trying to find the websites because I watch my grandkids on Tuesdays when the board usually meets. I thought the application was being thought about, but you already accepted the application. No. But how could they take it back?
Because we didn't vote on it yet.
So,
So, yeah, then explain that to me,
the
'cause I'm
you want to
confused.
go ahead?
Yeah.
Please, be my guest.
This actually, if we had voted on this, we would have been at this meeting accepting to pass their application to the planning board for review. But they withdrew it, so we
Don't have
never
to.
did that. So we have done absolutely nothing up to this point with their application, nothing at all.
But they did turn an application in.
Yes, for us to look at and decide whether or not we wanted to vote to actually give it to the planning board for review. If that had happened, if we had voted to pass it to the planning board, then the next stage would have been for the planning board to review it,
Right.
totally pick it apart, make suggestions for, well, maybe they turn around and say, we don't like it at all, and they kick it to the curb, or they say, we might like it if you tweak this, this, and this. And maybe they bring it back to the town board and recommend we pass it, maybe they don't, but it never even got close to that far.
But let me ask you, if they come back with an application and you take it and you go before the board, let me ask you, don't we get a vote in this? I mean, do the people get a vote in this?
So
Do we get to say to you, no, board, we don't want
So
this?
there would be, if the process was moving along, right, if this board voted to accept the application, let the planning board do their piece, it would then come back to us at some point, after it went to Dutchess County Planning and we got their comments, after we got our own planning board comments, then we would have a public hearing to hear from everybody, to what they, and at that point, we would have a more formal plan as to what's gonna happen. Right now, we were kind of piecemealing this because of the investment portion for the developer, right? So this plan that he gave us, we'll never know if it's going to come to fruition because he rejected it, but we don't know if that plan would have actually made it through planning either.
But in other words, you can still pass something without the people's say-so.
You elected us to do that. You elected all 5 of us. Everyone in this room elected all 5 of us to do that.
Well, no, I didn't elect exactly all 5.
Well, the majority of Pleasant, the majority of Pleasant Valley elected all 5 of us to do that.
Sorry, I know I didn't,
So-
but okay.
No,
But- But can we, well, I guess you'll have a picket outside your thing.
So, yeah,
So in other words, I really don't want to see them to turn in an application. I live in the mobile home park. I've lived here for over 30 years. When they went to build Brookside, when they built the first section of Brookside, we had rats in our development. I had a rat living in my friggin' house where I had to get a guy come in, and I can tell you, 18-inch Hungarian black rat. I can tell you because I had a guy come in and catch him. My boys were little back then. I don't need this again. And I know that from what I understand, the manager or the people that own Hickory Hills tried to block the second edition because of the water table. Our people had to dig 507 feet for water because our park ran out of water. That should tell you something. I know there's a water problem in Pleasant Valley. There has been since I've been living here. And they want to build 100, I heard almost 400 units. But whatever they want to build, if they want to build houses, I'm game. If the town could do something with Route 44, all those abandoned buildings or where there is nobody renting, if we could spruce it up and take more pride in 44, which is what people see, that might come into play. I mean, I know we've got a couple of new things coming in. Well, the hairdresser, she came in, but he fixed up that building nicely. That's what we need. We need good things. We don't need this.
So, just so you know, anybody who has property, let's say you have 20 acres somewhere in Pleasant Valley, you have the right to come to us with an application of a thought that you may have to develop or do something.
Right.
We can't just say to people, don't even ask us, okay, because that's not fair. We have the right to look at the application. Now, if the application doesn't fit in the zoning, then it doesn't go anywhere. But sometimes you don't know everything you need to know until it gets to the planning stage.
Okay.
So that's all this would have been, would be us saying, all right, we're not the experts. We've never developed land. We have never put anything up like this. We don't know. So the lead agency, the proper lead agency, would be the people who know, which would have been the planning board. And they would have taken that project and said, like Councilman Mazzella just said, we don't like this, we don't like, and Mr. O'Hanlon, we don't like this. Maybe if you do this, maybe if you do this, maybe if you do this for the town, maybe if you do this, then we can consider it, and then we'll send it back to the board.
Well, I just don't want them to come back and say, well, we'll do this for the town if you allow us to rezone, if you allow you guys to rezone for us.
I get what you're saying, but they're allowed to come back and try to redo it. They
Right.
are allowed to do that. That's
Okay.
legal, right? You can
But
do
are
that.
we going to be notified that they're coming back with an application?
You just need to show up every meeting.
No, you don't have to.
No, you're gonna love me. I'm gonna be.
Actually, you're terrific. You're terrific. Actually, you've all been very great. You've all been terrific.
We're gonna take part, we're gonna have pride in Pleasant Valley, and that means being aware, so we will show up.
And that's wonderful. We couldn't ask for more than that. So yes, but just keep your eye, what do they say? Look to the skies. What was the old thing say? Keep be
Well,
informed.
I went on the petition site, and I was confused because your meetings are usually on Tuesdays. And then somebody said, no, it was changed to Monday.
Nope.
When is
Our
the
meetings
meeting?
our meetings are always Mondays, unless it's a holiday, and then we punt.
They were Wednesdays years ago, but
Okay, that's probably
changed.
when I came
Well,
because,
actually, hold here. When I say years?
Years ago, yeah.
No, that's wrong. Last year, we changed it to Mondays.
oh, so it's Mondays. It's
So
not
it's the
Tuesdays.
first
Okay.
Monday and the third Monday. We welcome you all. Bring cake.
No, do I look like I need?
No, I'm only kidding. I can't have it anymore. But yeah, it's Mondays and the first and third Monday of the month. Please be informed. We love it when you're all informed. But be informed. Here's the thing, and I want to make this clear. Please be informed, because some of these sites out there are utterly. I know that people's tensions get high, but they're disgusting sometimes. Some of the rumors were absolutely ridiculous. Rumors about people that sit in this board. It still goes on. I mean, it's just terrible.
Well,
If you're going to be
I
informed,
look at the town site, Pleasant Valley Exclusive and Pleasant Valley Proud. Those are the three sites that I look at.
The private
But
sites,
I'm glad that
anything can happen.
Mr. Reifenberg is doing the video thing,
Yeah.
because trying to find the dates on there was like all over the place.
Yeah.
I couldn't find it, but somebody from the petition that started the
Good.
petition, I don't know if you were the one that started it, but I went on Facebook and I put down what I could figure out and said, we need to get together and do this.
Thank you. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Let's,
Hello, Paul McLaughlin.
Paul.
Two things. First of all, I was here about a month and a half ago. At that time, there was I guess I was complaining. Doesn't everybody, right? About the Festival of Lights, and you said that you guys were looking into it and everything, and I just have one question. How's it going?
you're on.
So,
I mean, you could move it to an agenda item at a later meeting. I just
You can
didn't
talk
want
about
it to
anything, but
linger,
if you'd
so.
like to address it.
no, it's fine. What we're going to do is put in place a new set of rules for future events. So we'll be having
Okay,
that.
will those rules be documented in a town meeting in some way
Sure.
on the agenda?
Yeah,
and then-
we'll be bringing them to the town board for discussion and a vote.
We'd have to, I believe we'd have to vote on them before we can implement them in
All
the
right,
town.
so, month, 2 months, what are we looking at?
I don't think it needs to be.
I mean, you
that
could
long.
say 3 months, I just, I don't really enjoy.
My-
coming
It's on my
here.
list. There's
You're
just a
all-
lot of
here's-
competing priorities.
Let me give it to you this way. So we have to just start making decisions about Pleasant Valley Weekend very shortly.
Right.
Because it takes approximately a year to put that together. So that needs to be in place before we get to that.
Okay, sounds good. I just didn't want, now, I do want to talk about one other thing. This is going to go great. I've had a boarding day. I think you should understand not everybody's against the development on Wigston Road, right? I think maybe 200 units or 150 units is too much. I defer to our planning board and our zoning board and our town board to determine exactly what it should be, but I'm not against development. And I think there's people in Pleasant Valley that feel the same way, right? They might not be as vocal. I think the town can use some development, more than bars, although I love those, right? I got no issue. So I think smart housing on Wigston, which already has 2 apartment outlets and a trailer park and a town dump and there's a lot of stuff there already, right? So maybe that's the problem, but some of the concerns that were brought up, our rural land, well, that land isn't designated as rural by the town. I mean, we have over 70% of the land in Pleasant Valley is designated rural that is not a piece that is. In fact, based off the map I saw, Brookside isn't designated as rural, and I mean, we got or designated as high density. We have a lot of apartments that are sitting in medium residential areas anyway. I'm not really sure how that happens. So as you negotiate with the developer, which I hope you have an opportunity to do, I defer to the town and the board and everything to make the right decisions for us. There are people out there that aren't against it. A couple things that were brought up about, this being the next Westchester. Heck, we're not even the next LaGrange. I mean, it's a good joke, but LaGrange is 50% rural, 50% developed. We're 70-30. So we don't even fall into that category. Traffic. Over the last 10 years, traffic in this town has picked up. But oddly, the population of this town has not grown that much at all. Actually gone down. So, we're a through traffic area. People are, if we have traffic, I want it to be our own residents. The traffic we're getting is people going to Poughkeepsie and Hyde Park. I want our population to increase. So even with all these developments that are going on, our population's still decreasing. So I think it's good for our town to develop, because on paper, we're really not, with the population dropping. There was a concern about schools. Well, Eastdale's in Arlington. The place on Overlook that's being developed is in Arlington. The schools have always managed to figure that out They will continue to figure that out. That is not a specific Pleasant Valley problem, how the schools deal with this. If they don't develop here, they're going to develop to somewhere else in the Arlington School District. And, you know, the schools manage it very well, and they would manage increased development in Pleasant Valley very well also. So I understand petition a lot of people and everything, but, you know, a lot of people are maybe feel the other way. So, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Greg Straley, Pleasant Valley. Back to the question, the gentleman came up here in favor of apartments. The land was zoned for 30 houses that he came in here with. Put the 30 houses in there, and, you know, let's not change the zoning on it. And another question I had was back on 1221, the lawyer stated the zoning was enforceable on Peckham and Bonded. And I've yet to see the enforcement officer up there enforcing anything when they're still starting at 4:30, 4:45 in the morning. When is the board and the town going to enforce the zoning on 410 North Avenue?
You want to handle it?
The other attorney, Warren Raplansky, is managing this, and he's planning to be at the next meeting, so
Okay.
he could speak then.
All right, well, he stated on 1221 that he was going to speak to the enforcement officer back on 1221. We're way past that again now, and there's no reason for him to come here and sit here. He already gave the answer to it. The zoning is enforceable. So why isn't it being enforced?
Can we,
I
mean, can we say that we gave,
Yeah,
and
that's what
we're
I was
waiting
gonna-
on a response?
That's what I was going to do. Yeah, go
So,
ahead.
just to give some clarity, not to go out of attorney-client privilege, whatnot, but we've had that conversation like they told you we had, and we've given direction to the attorneys to act upon that, and we're waiting to see what the results of that action were. So that's, I think, all we can basically say at this point, but we're not doing anything. We've directed them to do stuff, and we have to wait to see how that goes before we can move on to the next step, I think is the easiest answer at this point.
All right, but I've been in the zoning office and asked them if, you know, what.
It's above them at this
Above
point.
them, they haven't
It's above,
received
it's, yeah,
anything.
it's.
The attorneys are dealing with it.
It's attorney to attorney at this point, Greg.
Right.
So,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome.
Thank you.
Hello, Katrina Maloney, 22 Coachman. Just to bring up, again, the application has been withdrawn, I realize that, but the one thing the gentleman previously did not mention was water. And as far as the development goes of a lot of apartments, I am concerned about the water table, just like everybody else. So I do think we do need some development in Pleasant Valley, but I don't think it's expensive apartments on Wigston Road. I think it's maybe a little bit of revitalization here in the downtown area. So that's all I have to say, really. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? You know, and I know we use lots of other towns to use as examples, but for you folks who are always wondering, you know, raising your hand to go get up, other towns, I see them, they get in line, and they wait. You could, you know, if you really
Yeah,
want
if you want to speak, just get in line behind Gary. I would say just get in line and get ready.
Yeah, we're you know,
Yeah.
waiting for everyone to turn around, look around, and just get right behind the person. Yeah, form a line. You started the line.
I wasn't sure if that was a shut up.
This
Gary.
way there's, I'm sorry, this way there's no guessing game for us of how many people want to speak. We see the whole line, we know. There we go. Okay,
Okay?
shoot.
Two things. Well, first is, I have a friend that's a resident of the town that works for a lighting company, a manufacturer. If you like, I would talk to him and see if he could come down and give you some ideas.
That'd be terrific.
His specialty is lighting. I will do that. Second, it was mentioned about the parade. I have been a member of the committee that's produced Pleasant Valley Weekend for a number of years. We have a set of rules. I hope you look at those rules. They have worked. We have had minimal problems. The biggest thing is we enforce those rules.
Thank you, sir.
Carol Campbell, 122 Marshall. I would just like to answer a couple of things to this gentleman that spoke. The town of Pleasant Valley has a comprehensive plan, and we keep beating around the bush whether or not we should have apartments on 71 Wixton Road. I contend that the comprehensive plan is old. It was passed and adopted in 2009. So the town has grown, the area has grown. Maybe it's a matter of the comprehensive plan no longer suits us. And in keeping with that, the comprehensive plan did take 71 Wixton Road and up in that area and make it MDR, which is 1 acre zoning. So I think it serves what it needs to. I think that 1 acre zoning fits in that area up there. The property is far from the hamlet. I don't think HR really should be there. And a continuation of Brookside, it's got a dividing line, and that's Wixton Road. The other thing is we are saturated by apartments in Pleasant Valley. We currently have more apartments per capita than any other town in Dutchess County. And I don't think that we are against apartments. I think we want to make sure that we live within the comprehensive plan. But one other thing I'd like to bring up. The rezoning process is to submit an application to the town board. That's usually where the rezoning starts. The applicant paid fees for the rezoning, fees to go on the planning board agenda, and put money in an escrow account. How did the applicant get to the planning board for consideration to rezone without coming to the town board first?
For clarification, it was not, he was giving just a presentation as to what he gave us. It was not for consideration for the planning board. He gave us the same presentation he gave them, just so they knew what he was presenting to us.
I understand that, but that's putting the cart in front of the horse.
Not really, because we didn't vote on anything to give it to them, Carol.
Well, you can ask the town attorney what the application process is. A rezoning comes before the town board for consideration. And the town board didn't get to that point because the application was withdrawn. But if you had voted to accept the application, it would rightly take in its next step, was to go to the planning board. Okay, so it didn't take the right steps, is what I'm saying. The first step would have been the town board. I would hope that when fees are withdrawn for the withdrawal of the application, that any charges that were incurred by the town's attorney or the planning board's attorney or engineer are rightly taken out of those fees before they're returned. Thank you.
Thank you. You don't have to at this point. I think it's safe. Yeah, I don't think you. Yeah. Anyone else? Line's gone. So you didn't want to stand in line, huh? You didn't want to stand in line?
I don't want to stand in line. Mary Meyer, Clark Heights. I was here in December, and there was a lot of discussion about our ambulance and the budget and putting all the money into the budget, but I've not yet seen a budget modification. and with the amount that is being modified to.
We
did
already,
that.
we did that. We had a special meeting for that.
Oh, it
And if
was.
I'm not mistaken, I think you
We
were here
had
for
to
that
have-
special meeting.
We had to have that special meeting, otherwise we couldn't do it.
Well, no, but I thought the budget had, you guys put 350,000 until you guys
We
figured
had to
out how much it
modify
was gonna
that.
be.
We had to modify it because of the increase in numbers.
Yeah,
And we
so,
did
So I never, there was never a resolution to.
yeah,
it-
so I believe she's accurate with the fact that
There's no,
we
like,
put
what-
in a guesstimate of in between the two because we weren't sure what it was going to come out to. And we had talked about adopting the budget for that. And then you're accurate with that. We have to transfer money at some point this year to get it up to the amount that we owe. And then it was discussed that if it was, whatever the difference was, we have to tax and accept
gonna
that
come-
back
it was gonna come from
next
the-
year, and then it gets paid back into
Or
it.
that was
So,
coming from the general fund.
yeah,
Or something.
so
So
I
there
don't
still
believe.
needs- So there still needs to be a resolution to adjust the budget up to the amount that it's
At
supposed to
some
be.
point, yeah.
I don't think, we.
That was the meeting I missed, I think.
We changed the budget to reflect 350,000, which was an increase, but we didn't have the exact number because we didn't award the
Because the
contract
balance was
yet.
coming, I think from the fund balance.
Yeah,
Because
so
there was money there, so.
I think Emily said that we could borrow the money, but then the following year we have to pay it back.
Exactly, it has
so-
to be paid back by the ambulance district.
Yeah.
So we'll check back on the records if we're missing something, but,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, because in December, you guys didn't know what the number was gonna be yet.
Well, we knew the number before we approved going ahead with the contract, so
Right.
we'll check.
But anyway,
Yeah.
so I have a list of other things. We talked about pickleball at the last meeting and it being up in Helen Aldridge. But we have courts back here at Katie Field that just need paint and a fence. So I don't know why we don't do that. That was my one thing. We have the grant for the bathrooms for all three parks. I mean, there's been no new discussion about any of those. And you were talking about water earlier tonight. Speaking of water, where are we with the water project? It's been months since there's been any update on that. And I guess all these things should still be on old business because they're still old business. And any new updates on the new town hall.
Okay,
Those are my items that I think should still be in old business.
thank you. Okay. Anyone else? Not seeing any. I move we close the meeting to the public.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
And at this time, we're going to move to executive session for several different things. I don't even know the codes. What are the codes?
So,
Well, go ahead.
I would say, I'll make a motion, we go into executive session for board appointments with the planning board chair.
Appointment, Yeah, right.
I don't know, and the rest I think is attorney-client
Yeah,
privilege,
right.
so.
Attorney-client, that was the one I couldn't think of.
Oh, so we're doing.
So
an
we have a motion to
attorney-client
move into
session.
executive session. I second the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much for coming, folks. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Come out of executive. Make a motion, we come back out of executive session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Let the time be known as 9:10, just.
9:10. I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.